Hey everybody, thanks for joining us again. My name is Dirk Wood. I'm the CEO here at Parallaxis, and we have again with us today Hap Pierman. We are going to be speaking about machine learning hallucinations. Just a quick 5-10 minutes with you today. So let's go ahead and get started. So Hap, good question for even me too, and all those out there. Is machine learning hallucinations? What do we mean by that?
Machine learning hallucinations really refer to the generation of content that's either incorrect or misleading. A lot of times it's not really based in reality, so like nonsensical or totally fabricated kind of information.
How does that happen?
There are several really contributing factors that can make that happen. Sometimes it's based on limited training data, so you didn't train your model with a lot of comprehensive set of data. Could be a lack of grounding, so maybe the data that you had was very theoretical in nature, but not a lot of real world data to go with it. Uh, Data can also be biased, just like we can be biased as well. So you have to look at the biasness in the data itself. So those are some of the kind of leading contributors to it.
Now I've seen some of these on, X or Twitter or Reddit or whatever, some pretty bad examples that have happened in the past. But can you give us a few examples of this, either that you've seen or that you heard about?
Yeah, you will see it maybe like in a biography of a real person. You'll start to see some very fictional information about that person that's not real at all. Or just incorrect advice, like in medical industry, like we get a medical advice and you know that the advice is not appropriate or correct. I've seen it also just an information that you know is very factual in nature, but the information you get is historically not true. And then just even not just data itself, like we think of just text, but this can show up in images and things as well. So maybe you asked for a real world animal and you got back a unicorn or something like that. So there's lots of different ways or examples that this can manifest itself.
And you mentioned medical, which can would mean to me like there could be some serious, if this goes wrong, there could be some serious consequences, with this. What, I guess, what are some of the consequences you've seen, or what are some of the consequences that can happen with this?
Yeah, kind of the big three that go with that is one, spreading of misinformation. So, you take it as factual, you respread that information somewhere else, and then that gets spread. So, that whole, spreading is really important, which leads to the next problem, which is erosion of trust, trust in your model, trust maybe even in yourself or your company if you're spreading a lot of misinformation. And lastly, making poor decisions. If you take that information as factual and you go make some big decision and maybe invest a whole bunch in something that's wrong, then, that's going to have a financial impact on you as well.
What can the average Joe do to guard against these?
Well, so it starts, you have an old term, garbage in, garbage out in software engineering. It starts with having high quality training data. So when you go to train your model, you have to really look at the data you're using to train that with and make sure that it's fit for the model that you're building. This includes doing regular evaluations of that data and testing that data to see if the results it's producing are correct. So you kind of have to be diligent in that nature. And then when you find that it's not correct, you're going to have to tune it to be more correct by either bringing in better data or whatever that is involved with. But you have to be careful also about not over tuning it as well. We have a term called overfitting, and that can make it too specific sometimes, and then that can additionally lead to hallucinations. So it's finding that sweet spot. And then lastly, make sure you're very transparent and explain to people who are using your model, like what are the right boundaries. This is what the model's good for, but also this is what the model's not good for, because based on the data you use to build it, it may not be fit for some purposes. And make sure that's really clear so people don't end up, using it in an inappropriate way.
Thanks, Hep. That's pretty interesting. Learned something myself today. For those of you who listen, thanks for listening. This was just meant to be a quick, few minute taster sort of a thing. If anybody wants to get a hold of us, you can see the website below where to hit us up. Love to talk to you. So thanks everybody for joining, and we'll talk to you soon.